in general, when you're going to do a security deposit, if you're going to run into an issue, it's going to be here. You have somebody's money, they want it all back. California wants you to give it all back to them, and it has to be handled correctly. We'll talk about this from a tenant giving you a 30-day notice. If a tenant is giving you notice to move, you need to send them a move out packet. And within this packet, you have the option to request an initial move out inspection. That is very important. If you don't do an initial and move out inspection, you're going to be screwed, and you're not gonna have a good time. When a tenant moves out, you're gonna have 21 calendar days to process that security deposit. Now, when they get that notice that in the mail that says, hey, you have a right to request an initial move out inspection, you wait a week, you call them. Hey, did you receive your request for an initial move out inspection? If you want one, submit that back to us so we can come and schedule and do it. You want some sort of response, or you want to document that you've requested that they give that back to you, and make that a priority. When you go do your initial move out inspection, it is your job to tell the tenant, this is the way this is verbalized in kind of civil code and stuff, is that you are supposed to tell the tenant what they may get charged for. There is kind of if the unit has stuff in it, there's some exception where, you know, you can't see something behind a couch, a wall, that kind of stuff. But in general, you have to tell them what they are going to potentially be charged for. And if you don't tell them, that means that they didn't have the ability to try and correct that problem themselves. There are some stipulations where, you know, you have in your contract where they'll say any repairs or alterations have to be done by a professional, have to be authorized, that kind of stuff, to where you can make sure that they're done correctly, but you at least have to tell the tenant, hey, this is probably what you're going to get charged for, and or I'm going to have my people do it because I want it done by a professional, or if you have somebody, we want to make sure that it's an agreeable party, whatever that is, you need to let them know what they're going to be potentially charged for and how you're going to process that. If you miss something and you should have been able to reasonably see it and they want to take you to small claims court over it, you're probably going to have a bad time. You're probably going to lose. Put on a list what they're going to be potentially deducted for. You can mention cleaning, any of that kind of stuff. Usually I go over the items people usually miss. They'll hit the fan blades, but they won't hit the actual mechanism. They forget the top of the shower. They don't dump out the drawers and wipe them out. It's got to be to the same cleanliness that your cleaners have it to. So you should make sure you document on the front end what that level of cleanliness looks like and have a good understanding about that. So when you do your move out inspection, you can abreast them on what the expectation is moving out. That, and then you're going to document everything else that they could potentially be charged for. You actually, from my understanding, you do not have to write a price to what that's going to cost. You can write all this stuff down. This is the stuff you may get charged for, but you're not responsible to tell them what that's going to cost yet. You have to go and do that work, assess it, have the bills be sent to you. That's what that 21-day calendar period is for you to gather those items, get those projects done, and all of that. There is some circumstances in which you would not have to do it within the 21 calendar days. I think that involves them not moving out when they're supposed to, some various other things that it could be potentially extended to 30 days, but most cases stick to the 21 calendar days. Make sure it is sent out within that day. If not, they're entitled to their full refund, and then you're going to have to go after them in court to try and collect for any of the damages. When you give a tenant a notice and you're curious whether or not they're actually going to get out, sending out their move out inspection paperwork, giving them that follow-up phone call saying, hey, just want to make sure you received the paperwork, everything's going smoothly, get an idea of how they sound on the phone, whether it sounds like they're going to be out, whether they're kind of just being non-responsive. You'll get an idea when you're talking to them about stuff that is part of your job, and just going through that process, how that's going to look when they actually come to move out date. Security deposits can be incredibly difficult. If you don't want to handle it, you should hire a property manager. There are many processes in this that you have to make sure you're checking your boxes, or you're putting yourself in a bad situation if they want to come back, complain, and take you to small claims court. And in some cases, they'll just run off to get some attorney who can handle it for them pro bono, and they'll make their money on the back end. So highly recommend you have somebody who knows how to process security deposits correctly and can do it in a way that the tenant feels fair. You're managing expectations on the front end with how it's going to be processed, what they'll potentially get charged for, so that they have the opportunity to correct it and they feel like it's been a reasonable experience, so you're not running into this. I've never had a tenant take me to small claims court over a security deposit in 10 years.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. I'm not saying everybody's been happy about them, but